Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Thank you for joining us for the press conference. Those of you who are joining us here in the room, as well as those who we have with us virtually. My name is Trishala Prasad. I'm the Deputy Permanent Representative for the Guyana Mission and the media focal point for our Security Council team. Today, as you're aware, Guyana assumed the presidency of the Security Council for the month of February. And in keeping with the tradition, Ambassador Carolyn Rodrigues-Birkett, Permanent Representative of Guyana to the UN, and this month's President of the Security Council, will brief you on the program of work, which was adopted this morning. And with us also is our political coordinator, Ms. Nishanta Ben. After the briefing, I will open the floor for questions. So now, Ambassador Rodrigues-Birkett.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and let me also join in welcoming you to this press conference. I'm pleased to be here to present to you February's program of work of the United Nations Security Council. Before doing so, I would just like to indicate how we intend to approach our presidency in relation to the working methods. As President of the Security Council, Guyana will promote enhanced transparency, efficiency, effectiveness, and inclusiveness in the Council's work. We also commit to adopting a consensus-building approach and to executing our mandate in full collaboration with all Council members. We will also seek to include a gender perspective in meetings as far as appropriate, in keeping with our commitments to the women, peace, and security, our commitments to women, peace, and security. We are thankful for the guidance and advice that we have received from fellow Council members and for the steady support that has been provided to us by the Secretariat. Now for the program of work. I understand that you are already in possession of the program of work, which has just been adopted by the Council. We have a very busy month ahead with many important matters demanding the Council's attention. On the program are all the mandated meetings for the month and our signature event. As you are aware, the program of work does not represent the totality of all the meetings that will be held in February. We expect additional meetings, including on Ukraine and Myanmar, and on other matters as they arise. Of course, the war in Gaza will remain a priority. There will be 16 mandated meetings, including on UNAMI, Somalia, UNSMIL, MINUSCA, Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan, and the situation in the Middle East. On the 15th of February, we will have the annual briefing on threats to international peace and security caused by terrorist acts, based on the Secretary General's strategic level report on the threat posed by ISIL. There is one adoption scheduled for the month, the renewal of the mandate of the panel of experts of the 1591 Sanction Committee concerning Sudan. Also during this month, the Council will undertake a field visit to Colombia within the context of Resolution 2704. The mission will be co-led by the United Kingdom, Switzerland, and the Presidency, Guyana. Turning to our signature event, on the 13th of February, we will host a high-level open debate focusing on the impact of climate change and food insecurity on the maintenance of international peace and security. The meeting will be chaired by the President of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali. Our Foreign Minister, Honorable Hugh Todd, will also be here for the meeting. The topic chosen is one that Guyana attaches high importance to. The meeting will examine the dynamic relationship between climate change, food insecurity, and conflicts within the context of maintaining international peace and security. We anticipate a very rich discussion given the interest in this topic by many Council members, but also by the wider United Nations membership. And Guyana intends to provide a summary of that event following its conclusion. The meeting will see the presence of the Secretary General. We also have 3 briefers in the persons of the head of the Executive Secretary of the United Framework Convention on Climate Change, the Deputy Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization, and 1 civil society briefer. We are grateful that they have accepted our invitation to brief the Council. As mentioned earlier, we do not expect that this program of work will remain as it is now, given the many issues that is attracting the Council's attention, and we do intend to keep you apprised of any updates through weekly emails to the UN Press Corps. Additionally, my mission remains available if you have any questions for the Presidency or for me in my national capacity. And I now open the floor for any questions you may have on the program of work.
Thank you, Ambassador, and we'll start over here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ambassador, on behalf of the United Nations Correspondent Association for this briefing, and we wish you the best of luck for the busy month ahead. My question is on Venezuela. Are you planning to bring to the Security Council attention the issue of Venezuela that wanted to annex the Guyana region in a referendum? There will be a possible debate on that, discussion of sanctions or any other steps. Thank you so much. It's Valeria Rebecco from Ansa Newswire, sorry.
Thank you, Valeria. In my capacity as President of the Council, I can say that Venezuela is not on the program of work. In my national capacity, I can say that Guyana has not requested a meeting on Venezuela.
I'll take the question here.
James Bays from Al Jazeera. I'd like to ask you 2 related questions related to Gaza and the wider problems in the Middle East region. First, you're welcome to answer these as President or probably more interestingly in your national capacity. There's now, we believe, an early draft from Algeria of a resolution again on a ceasefire. In your view, what do you think are the chances of getting that much-needed ceasefire for Gaza during this month when you are presiding over the Security Council? And secondly, as you know, there was that attack on a US base with 3 US service personnel killed. The US is now planning, we're told, a extensive military response to that attack on that base in Jordan close to the Syria border. How worried are you that this could just lead to further escalation in the region?
Thank you, James. We are aware that a draft resolution is being discussed. I can tell you that in our national capacity, we intend to adopt a constructive approach towards the resolution. On the other question you ask, I can say again, in my national capacity, we are concerned about spillovers based on what is happening in Gaza. I would expect that the U.S. would be more appropriate to answer the other part of the question. Thank you.
I'll take the question.
Hello, Ambassador. I'm Margaret Bashir with Voice of America. Good luck this month. I would like to ask you about Haiti, especially because Guyana is the chair of CARICOM also for the next 6 months. Your president has said regional security is a key priority. So what is Guyana going to do in the Security Council to get this multinational force deployed, especially since we've seen now an obstacle arise in Kenya with the High Court decision?
Thank you very much for the question. Haiti is one of the priorities for sure for our region, for Guyana, and for the Caribbean community. As you know, the multinational support mission is a non-UN mission, but nevertheless, the Security Council is seized of this matter. We have seen that the Kenyan government has decided to appeal the decision, and we are hoping to, as we go along this month, to have an update at the appropriate time. But we are concerned, and I can say that for Guyana, in our national capacity, with the growing challenges in Haiti and the dire humanitarian situation. But the work of the Eminent Persons Group of CARICOM continues in terms of the political tract.
And just, has CARICOM gotten any more regional countries interested in contributing to the force?
At this point in time, we are advised that the countries that have indicated their participation would be the Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, and Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. First, a follow-up on the possibility of another ceasefire resolution. You said Guyana would take a constructive approach. Could you expand on what exactly that means? And secondly, February 24th is the second anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Is the Security Council planning anything to mark that occasion, any kind of meeting, any kind of outcome document? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Let me answer on Gaza in my national capacity. Guyana has called for a ceasefire, and Guyana will continue to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. We believe that we should not wait another day for that. And this is why I said we will be constructive in the resolution, and hopefully we would be able to have a resolution. On Ukraine, I can confirm that there will be a meeting. We are finalizing the date at this point in time. On product, we do not foresee one at this point in time.
Do you expect any senior officials from Ukraine to come to the United Nations for that meeting whenever it's scheduled?
We do not have that information as yet, but we believe we will be informed in the coming days.
Thank you, Ambassador. So my name is Yu from Kyodo News, Japanese media. So I have two questions. So one is you mentioned about the meeting of Myanmar. So could you give me more details? And then second question is about the North Korea, DPRK. So are you ready for the meeting about the North Korea, DPRK? What do you think about the issue? So.
We will be attentive to all the requests of Security Council members for various meetings. I can confirm that the meeting on Myanmar will take place in the first week. Yes.
We have a question here.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Ambassador. On February 13th, your high-level meeting, are you going to have a product, a statement, a resolution? And secondly, could you give me some details on what you're doing on Myanmar?
Thank you. In terms of a product, as you know, it's still a very complex situation, discussing at least half of the topic, the part on climate. But we believe it's a very important topic for most of the UN membership, and so this is why I indicated we will do a summary, and hopefully in the future we can have a product, and I speak there in my national capacity. On Myanmar, the meeting will take place, and we will see where we go from there.
What kind of an agenda at the meeting? Just a general discussion on Myanmar? And also, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. It's Evelyn Leopold, Globetrotter Media in Passport.
Thank you. We understand that there's work is ongoing by the ASEAN Special Envoy, and so we will be having a report from him.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. My name is Ephraim Kosaifi from Arab News Daily. A bit of a wider question, please. As a representative of a country that has suffered under colonialism and has a history with that struggle, How is that past and history informing today your foreign policy and your role on the Council? How does it feel to be in the same room now with the former colonizer? And what is your message if you feel any connections with what's happening in Palestine today? And if so, what's your message to Palestinians and Israelis? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we do have a colonial past. We like to consider ourselves friends with everyone. As a small state, we bring to the Council what we have always practiced and held true to, and that is our principles. And also, in terms of Palestine, Guyana is actually a founding member of the Committee on the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People, and we have continuously advocated for the two-state solution. And we believe that this is the ultimate solution in the crisis that we face right now. And while what we see is unprecedented, we also believe that there's opportunity in this to move forward that process. I would say to our Palestinian brothers and sisters and to our Israeli brothers and sisters that we hope that even though at this point in time we see disaster and destruction in Gaza, and we see the wider complications of this in Palestine, we would like to see Israel and Palestine living side by side in peace and security and in harmony. We believe it is time.
Yes, Madam the Ambassador, Javier Otazu from FN Newswire. Last December, the Security Council held a meeting on your conflict with Venezuela, Esequibo. And how come you are not taking advantage of your presidency to bring again the subject to the Council, or maybe you consider that the conflict is over or on the right track?
Let me say that when we decided to put forward our candidacy for the Security Council, it's because we believe as a small state, especially from the group of small island developing states, that we can bring a unique perspective to the Council. And at that time, just 12 years ago, Venezuela was one of the first countries, the government of Venezuela, to support our candidacy. We decided that it was necessary for us to inform the Council in December of what was happening between our two countries, given the narratives, the worrying narratives that was coming out at that time from Venezuela, and given the responsibility of the Council for International Peace and Security, we thought it important to inform the Council. At this point in time, we do not believe that it is a matter that we need to bring to the Council again. I should inform that following that Council meeting, there was a meeting in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Guyana and Venezuela signed an agreement. And part of that agreement is for a joint commission to discuss issues that are consequential. Of course, the matter is in the hands of the ICJ. The land border matter is in the hands of the ICJ, but consequential matters relating to our cooperation with Venezuela as a neighbor is included in that joint commission where those issues would be discussed, and a first meeting was held already.
Thank you. If we could, before I get to the remaining questions in the room, if we could go online, we have Iftikhar Ali. You have the floor.
Mr. Iftikhar Ali?
If there is an issue with the audio, maybe we can go to the second person online, who is Abdel Hamid Siam. It doesn't give your designation. If you could indicate, that would be helpful. Thank you. Could we have volume for the questions for our technical team? Thank you. It seems that there is difficulty in us hearing those questions, so we'll go back to the room and see if that can be fixed. We'll take the question there first, if you could identify. The lady behind.
Thank you. My name is Ibtisam Azim Al Arabi Al Jadid newspaper. My question is about some breaking news that coming out from the Qatari Foreign Ministry, a spokesperson that's saying that Israel agreed to a ceasefire proposal, and we have initial positive confirmation from Hamas. My question here, first, do you have any comments on that, and do you believe that such an agreement should come also in front of the Security Council, that should be discussed in details? Thank you very much.
We do not have any information. Ghana does not have any information as that. As you said, it just came out. But let me say that if there's a ceasefire, we certainly welcome that. Well, as I mentioned earlier, in fact, as was mentioned earlier, there is a draft resolution that is being discussed, and we will see how that will progress in light of this new information that you just provided.
We have a question.
Thank you, Ambassador Murad Hashim, Al Jazeera Arabic. What's your position regarding the human rights violations in Gaza and West Bank? And do you support a rule on this matter by ICC and ICJ?
We have consistently called, of course, in our national capacity, for the respect for international law, international humanitarian law, and of course human rights, and we will continue to do so. On the matter of the ICJ, we welcome the provisional measures of the ICJ, and we look forward to the consideration of the larger matter as we go forward. We understand that that will take some years, but we are concerned of the overall situation in Gaza, of the women and children that have died, of everyone that is suffering in Gaza.
Thank you, Ambassador. Go ahead. Stefano Vaccara, La Voce di New York and Ital Press. Are you satisfied with the way the Security Council is, is proceeding so far, or do you think a reform should be very urgent? And just recently, the Secretary General repeated that he thinks it's the time for a new permanent seat for Africa. And what do you think about new permanent seats?
In my national capacity, we believe Security Council reform is urgent. And it may sound hollow because we've been saying this for the past 3 decades or so, but we believe that it is. Guyana supports the common African position. We believe that it's a historical injustice that should be made right. And so we support Africa having a permanent seat on the council. I should indicate that this is also the position of many CARICOM countries as well. We also advocate for a rotating seat on the council, non-permanent seat for small island developing states. We believe that they bring a unique perspective, especially being on the front lines of climate change. And as we spoke about earlier, the impacts of climate change on the maintenance and peace and security is something that we must continue to consider. And so, yes, we believe that the reform of the Security Council should not wait.
Before I go to the hands I see in the room, I think we'll try again with those who are online. If we could see if Mr. Iftikhar Ali, if we can hear you now. Still not able to hear you. I'm not sure if you're on mute. We did have a second request online, which is Mr. Abdel Hamid.
Can you hear me?
We are hearing you. Go ahead, please.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President. I have few questions. And my first question about visiting Gaza by the Security Council. Last December, the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates took a delegation to the Rafah crossing, but they didn't cross to Gaza. Would you consider taking a group of members of the Security Council, or suggest at least, to visit Gaza and see for yourself atrocities and genocide in the making? That's my first question. And the second, there are now floating ideas to recognize Palestine as a full, independent, sovereign state in the UN. What is the position of your country if this issue came to the forefront of the Security Council during your membership? And finally, I don't want to take much of your time, but if you can tell me, would you work with the non-permanent members to form some kind of common ideas of the 10 elected members to influence the outcome of the Security Council resolutions and the statements, and not to leave it only to the permanent 5? Thank you very much for your patience and accepting my 3 questions.
Thank you very much. There is no plan at this time to visit Gaza, but I can say in my national capacity, this is something we would welcome when it is appropriate for us to do so, and when the security allows us to do that as well. In terms of Palestine as a sovereign state, and should that be considered here, Guyana will certainly support that, as we have advocated for this for many, many years. In terms of the elected members working together, we try to do this all the time, but also as the council as a whole. And we will always adopt a constructive approach to whatever is before us, always keeping in mind that we're there to contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security.
Thank you.
This is Arun Lewis from Indo-Asian News Service. I see that you have a private meeting set up for Afghanistan, and you said that one of your main priorities is gender issue, and I see that pretty much reflected very prominently right here on the podium. Would you consider taking any further steps on Afghanistan, especially on the gender issue and related matters of human rights? Thank you.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the meeting will take place, and in my national capacity, Guyana has made certain commitments to the WPS agenda, and whichever file we're looking at, we also look at it through a WPS lens as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. My name is Sinan. I'm with Ruda Media Network, a Kurdish outlet. My question is about Iran. Iran has been attacking, Iran attack killed civilians in Pakistan a few weeks ago and in Kurdistan region of Iraq, and a few days ago they killed 3 American soldiers in Jordan. So I wonder if you have any message for Iran, and what would you like to say about this escalation also? Any comment on that?
I think I have a message for everyone that we just need to make this world a better place, safer, more prosperous for all our people.
Thanks, Ambassador. It's Margaret again. I just wanted to follow up on the Afghanistan meeting. What will the topic actually be, and why is it a private meeting? I assume that's in part so the Chargé can attend, but could you explain to us what this subject is?
Actually, as you would recall, there was a resolution that was passed, and the Secretary General is expected to report within 60 days on his meetings with the various envoys there. And so that report will be considered.
Just ask you one question in your national capacity. Where are your talks at with the United States in terms of strengthening your military?
We have very good relations with the United States on many matters. The United States is our largest trading partner, and our largest diaspora actually reside in the United States. So we have cooperation on a number of issues for many, many years.
But there was supposed to be some new military cooperation, I believe, following last year's incident with Venezuela.
We have had these types of cooperations with the United States and several other countries, and I think those continue. So what you see us doing right now is part of that program that we have, and every year, of course, we perhaps add to that cooperation as well.
We'll take one more.
Thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. I just wanted to say, and I'm sure all my colleagues agree, we would greatly appreciate it if you came to the stakeout after all the meetings and at least gave us a rundown on what happened and your view. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll consider that.
As we're taking second questions very kindly, I'm going to ask another one, and again it's going to be about Gaza. At the end of last year, there were, despite all the efforts to get a ceasefire, there were 2 resolutions passed. Both of them said that the humanitarian aid needed to be scaled up. You listened yesterday to Martin Griffiths in the Council, and he made it very clear that's not happening. And he also made it clear that part of the reason is Israel, that Israel is taking items out of the aid, is blocking convoys coming in, is not allowing all the crossing points the UN would like. Is Israel complying with those 2 resolutions, and if not, what action can be taken?
The information we have, and I speak here in my national capacity, is that for those 2 resolutions to be implemented, you need a ceasefire. And this is why we continue to call for this. We are very, very concerned about the humanitarian situation and the access to aid, because in some cases what we know is there is aid, but access is the problem, getting it to the people who really need it. But yes, what we have before us is that those 2 resolutions cannot be fully implemented, and also the provisional measures of the ICJ, unless there's a ceasefire.
We will take 2 final questions, unless there are no more. Maybe we can give Mr. Iftikhar Ali a final try. See, sir, if we can hear you this time. I know you've been trying really hard to get your question in.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. I'm sorry, I'm the last one to get the question, but by now all my questions have been answered. The Security Council reform, Gaza, and Afghanistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a final question, can I?
Yes,
go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much again. I mean, Palestinians have been under occupation. Occupation is illegal, as you know. International law supports people under occupation to resist occupation. Why, when Palestinians resist occupation, they are labeled as terrorists? But when the Ukrainians resist occupation, they are labeled as heroes. Do you see the double standard in the international community in this labeling of both sides doing the same thing? Thank you.
It's a concern for us. Thank you.
And I see no further questions in the room, so I just want to say thank you for your very many questions and also for your interest in our presidency. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.